Right now, beneath your feet, there is another world. Not a metaphor, not a figure of speech, a real world. With real streets, real buildings, real rooms where real people lived and worked and hid and survived, buried beneath the most famous streets in America, and almost nobody knows it is there. Before New York City was New York City, it was water, streams, creeks, ponds, marshes, a landscape shaped entirely by water moving through it in dozens of directions simultaneously. Minetta Brook ran through what is now Greenwich Village, a clear, fast stream that Native Americans had fished for centuries. As the city grew, these waterways became inconvenient. They were in the way of streets, in the way of buildings, so they buried them, one by one, year by year. The streams were redirected into underground pipes. The ponds were drained and filled. The marshes were paved. But here is what nobody tells you. You cannot bury a river. You can only hide it. Minetta Brook is still down there right now, flowing beneath the streets of Greenwich Village, appearing in flooded basements after heavy rain, reminding the city that it was here first. In 1889, the Great Seattle Fire burned for 7 hours and destroyed 25 city blocks. When they rebuilt, they did not clear the rubble. They built on top of it. They raised the new street level by more than 30 feet above the original ground. And the old Seattle, the original streets, the original storefronts, the original sidewalks was simply buried beneath the new city. Sealed underground. Forgotten. For decades, the underground was used for storage, for darker things. And then one day, someone went down there with a flashlight and found an entire city still waiting. The signs still on the storefronts. The windows still intact. The wooden sidewalks still solid underfoot. A city frozen in 1889, perfectly preserved beneath a city that had completely forgotten it was there. Between 1899 and 1906, the city of Chicago secretly built 60 miles of narrow underground freight tunnels beneath the loop, the most valuable real estate in the entire city. The tunnels were used to move coal, mail, packages, and telephone cables beneath the streets without ever surfacing. Department stores had direct underground connections. Office buildings received deliveries through basement tunnel doors. For 40 years, this secret underground freight system operated beneath Chicago, moving thousands of tons of goods every single day, while the people on the streets above had absolutely no idea it existed. The city shut the tunnels down in 1959. They sat forgotten beneath Chicago for decades, and then in 1992, a construction crew accidentally broke through a tunnel wall near the Chicago River. The river poured in. The tunnels flooded within hours. Basements across the entire loop filled with water. 40 buildings were evacuated. $200 million in damage. The tunnels had been forgotten so completely that no one had thought to check them when the river wall was being worked on. 60 miles of secret tunnels, forgotten, until the river found them. In 1904, New York City opened its first subway line, and at the southern end of that line, they built a station so beautiful it was meant to be a symbol, a statement about what this city was and what it was becoming. The City Hall Station. Guastavino, tile vaulted ceilings, brass chandeliers, skylights looking up through the park above. It was the most elegant subway station ever built in America. And then in 1945, the platform was too short for the new, longer trains. The city closed it, sealed the doors, and simply forgot it was there. For 80 years, the chandeliers have been hanging in the dark. The tile work has been sitting in silence beneath City Hall Park. Trains still pass through it. The 6 train loops around the old platform every few minutes, but they do not stop. Passengers press their faces against the windows as the train curves through, a glimpse of something extraordinary, a station built for the public that the public has not been allowed to enter for 80 years. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, the waterfront bars and hotels of Portland, Oregon were built above a network of underground tunnels connecting them to the river docks below. And those tunnels were used for something that should have been impossible in a free country. Men and sometimes women would be drugged in the bars above. Trapdoors in the bar floors would open. The unconscious bodies would be dropped through, falling into the tunnels below. They would wake up shackled to the walls, and by the time they were fully conscious, they were already on a ship heading out to sea, forced into unpaid labor on merchant vessels for months or years at a time. This was called Shanghaiing. The tunnels were called the Shanghai Tunnels, and it happened not in secret, but with the full knowledge of the Portland police, the bar owners, the ship captains, and the city government. The tunnels still exist beneath Old Town Portland today. The iron rings are still in the walls. Nobody was ever punished. The bars above them became tourist attractions. Beneath churches, beneath farmhouses, beneath the floors of ordinary homes across the northern United States, there is a network of hand-dug tunnels that represent the most defiant act in American history. The Underground Railroad was not a railroad. It was not underground. It was a human network. Thousands of ordinary people risking everything to move enslaved people from the South toward freedom in the North and Canada. But in some places, it literally was underground. Documented tunnels have been found beneath churches in Cincinnati, beneath farmhouses in Ohio and Indiana, beneath homes in Philadelphia and New York. Hand dug in the dark by people who understood that being caught meant death. The footprints are still in some of these tunnels, pressed into the earth 170 years ago and never disturbed, going in one direction only, toward the north, toward Canada, toward freedom. These are the most important tunnels ever dug in American soil, and most Americans have never heard of a single one of them. In 1991, construction workers excavating a site in Lower Manhattan for a new federal office building hit something unexpected 4 feet below the street surface. Bones, coffin wood, grave markers. They had broken through the ceiling of the African Burial Ground, a colonial-era cemetery where more than 15,000 free and enslaved black New Yorkers had been buried between 1690 and 1794. The cemetery had been closed, built over, and completely forgotten for nearly 200 years. Office buildings sat above it. Streets ran through it. A federal building was about to be constructed directly on top of it. The discovery stopped construction completely, and what archaeologists found over the following years changed everything historians thought they knew about colonial New York. More than 400 individuals were carefully excavated and studied. Their stories, the stories of people the city had literally buried and forgotten, began to be told for the first time. The African Burial Ground is now a national monument, but here is the truth that the monument does not say loudly enough. It was found by accident. If that construction crew had not broken through, those 15,000 people would still be beneath the street, forgotten, unacknowledged, built over, the way cities have always treated the people they do not want to remember. When Prohibition began in 1920 and the manufacture and sale of alcohol became illegal across the United States, the response of American cities was immediate and completely underground. Literally, bar owners, restaurant owners, and entrepreneurs across every major American city began building, digging, constructing entire bars and entertainment venues beneath their buildings, beneath the streets, beneath the city itself, connected by tunnels, hidden behind fake walls, accessed through coal cellar doors, through telephone booths, through bookcase doors, through manholes in back alleys. New York City alone is estimated to have had over 30,000 illegal speakeasies operating during Prohibition, thousands of them underground. The tunnel networks connecting them were so extensive in some neighborhoods that you could travel 3 city blocks underground without ever surfacing. When Prohibition ended in 1933, most of these underground spaces were simply sealed, bricked up, left exactly as they were on the last night they operated. Archaeologists and urban explorers have been finding them ever since. Glasses still on tables, bottles still behind bars, jazz posters still on the walls, entire underground worlds sealed and forgotten on the last night the music played. When the Civil War began in 1861, Washington, D.C. became a city of wounds. Wounded men arrived faster than hospitals could be built. Churches became wards, government buildings became operating rooms, and beneath the street, the storage vaults and cellars beneath government buildings, beneath hotels, beneath ordinary homes, became underground surgical theaters. Men were carried down stone steps on stretchers. Surgeons worked by oil lamp light 10 feet below the normal streets of the capital. Amputations, extractions, operations performed in conditions that would be unrecognizable as medicine today. The screaming was muffled by the earth above. That was partly why they were underground. Not just for space, for sound, so that the city above could continue its normal business without hearing what the war actually sounded like. Some of these underground hospital chambers still exist beneath Washington, D.C. buildings today. The wooden cots are gone, the instruments are gone, but the stains on the brick floors remain, and the stone steps once smoothed by the boots of the men who carried the wounded down, and sometimes carried them back up again, and sometimes did not. On September 8, 1900, a hurricane made landfall at Galveston, Texas, with winds of 145 miles per hour and a storm surge that covered the entire island underwater. When it was over, between 6,000 and 12,000 people were dead. the deadliest natural disaster in American history, the response was extraordinary. Rather than abandon the city, Galveston's engineers proposed something that had never been done before. They would raise the entire city, every building, every street, every foundation. They dredged sand from the Gulf of Mexico and pumped it beneath the city, raising the grade level by as much as 17 feet in some areas. Buildings were lifted on jacks. New streets were built above the old ones. And the original Galveston, the streets where 8,000 people had walked on the morning of September 8th, was buried beneath 17 feet of fill. It is still down there, the original brick streets still intact beneath the modern city. And on those buried streets, in the spaces between the fill, the objects of ordinary life are still sitting exactly where the storm left them. Dishes, bottles, a child's doll, a leather boot still laced, a city preserved in disaster beneath a city that survived it. Right now, beneath every famous street in America, the history is still there. The Underground Railroad tunnels beneath Cincinnati churches, still intact, the footprints still in the earth, the buried rivers of Manhattan still flowing in the dark, still finding their way to the sea. The sealed City Hall subway station, chandeliers still hanging in the silence, the 6 trains still curving through it every few minutes without stopping. The Shanghai Tunnel iron rings, still in the Portland walls, still attached to the bricks, still waiting for a history that never fully reckoned with what happened in those tunnels. The paper lanterns of underground Chinatown, still red, still gold, still hanging in a room beneath San Francisco that a community built when the city above decided they did not belong. The child's shoes, still on the floor, the child's handprint, still in the mortar, the half-filled whiskey glass, still on the bar of a sealed speakeasy beneath a New York street, still waiting for the music to start again. We build our cities on top of everything we want to forget. We pave over the rivers and the cemeteries and the lives and the stories. We build new streets above the old ones and we walk on them every day without looking down. But it is all still there. Every river we buried is still flowing. Every story we paved over is still waiting. The street is not the bottom. The street is just the surface, and the surface has never been the whole truth. Next time you walk down a famous American street, look down, not at your phone, at the ground beneath your feet. And remember, the most important history was never written on the surface. It was buried beneath it, and it is still down there right now, waiting.